Hey, this is Moss. Welcome to Moss on Sunday. Happy Easter. It's going to be a very special show for you all. We've got a lot of people online, so thanks for that. And again, as always, guys, please subscribe. Please like this. Please like the channel. All right. Well, happy Easter again from everywhere. I see people from the Netherlands, everywhere actually. So it's quite beautiful. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for taking the time, family time, to join this happy family, the XI family, exponential intelligence family. So, all right, we'll jump right in. This title is about rediscovering spiritual truth. And as a note, guys, I'm in the middle of nowhere, literally nowhere, somewhere in Montana. We're going to go snowboarding with some private clients here later on today. Well, not today, but probably tomorrow. So we're gonna. So I'm doing this show live on the road. Uh, Again, in the middle of nowhere. I'm sitting in the car. I don't know what my background tells you, but I'm literally sitting in the car here. It's quite beautiful. So if you guys have ever been in Montana, it is quite beautiful. Cities, the small town that we're in, um, not so great, but the, the landscape here again is just very. It's God's country. Really, that's what it is. It's God's country. Right? So really bringing in the power of, say, the purity, the serenity of this area. All right. So the title on this is Rediscovering Spiritual Truth, the Resurrection of Christ Consciousness, Life Explained. So what we're going to do is answer answer some of the questions that go beyond, say, the religion. Okay. We're going to answer some deep questions, and just note that, guys, that I'm not. Some people might go, well, I don't believe in God, or some people might go, well, I don't believe in a religion. And in fact, actually, it's quite the opposite. I believe in God more than, I think I'm the most devout individual around in the world that, say, believes in, say, a consciousness. I just don't believe the definition that people use. And that's the difference. The definition that people use is a bearded man that looks down upon you, that judges everything that you do, and then you're going to go to hell. And oh, by the way, it wants money. It needs money from you. Okay, that definition is bullshit. Okay, so again, I believe in a higher consciousness that created perfection in this reality, and it wasn't instantaneous. It's taken billions or trillions of years, say, to transform and create a being such as ours, which is quite amazing. It's quite an amazing, say, intelligent. I would call it, say, exponential intelligence. So that's the kind of God that we should all believe in. And then your religions, your paths, your ideations of who you are, who you marry, how you create money, should all be based on that first principle definition. Again, that's worked for over millions and billions of years. You don't need to create your own. Like a lot of these scientists and a lot of these new agers that come through, or I wouldn't even say the new agers, but some of these self-improvement gurus and so on like that. Again, if your life is not complete, you're not operating at a first principle level. And this is what rediscovering spiritual truths is all about. It's the resurrection of Christ consciousness. So let's just get into it. As a note, by the way, we have the universal power frequencies. This later on tonight, we're going to do a deep state meditation on, say, the Christ. It's a Christ frequency meditation. It's part of the human. It's part of the universal power frequencies bundle, by the way. So you can just, if you want, you can just take this one. It's going to be quite, again, very powerful. All right. What? Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I did. Demi's telling me that wish you guys happy Easter. So from Demi and all of us at the the XI team, happy Easter to you all. Okay. All right. So let's get into some of these questions, and I'm going to go through some of these questions. And obviously, we just don't have time to do all the questions. We've got about 10 questions that say we accumulated through the web. What is Christ consciousness? To universal spiritual awakening. How can Christ consciousness contribute to a universal spiritual awakening? practical applications on Christ consciousness, beyond religious boundaries. We'll talk about that. Spiritual growth and transformation, my perspective on the Christ consciousness, critiques and challenges about the Christ consciousness, and the role of meditation and practice. Right? Impact on daily life, and then scientific and philosophical, say, perspectives on what the Christ consciousness is. So this isn't just anything about woo-woo. This isn't about blind faith that most people have right nowadays. For example, science is the worst, say, practice ever. It's the worst religion ever, right? It's like, don't worry, just believe us because we're scientists. It's literally morphed into another religion. We want the true science, the real science that's entangled with, well, spirituality, the real science that has created, say, this reality that we call time and space, that we call Earth. All the science that went behind that, we want to acknowledge, and we want to come back to the original form or the first principle reasons on why we're here. Okay? Again, we've been in the making for billions or trillions of years, so we need to find out why something, an intelligence, they got us to this point. There has to be a reason more than saving the planet, saving ourselves, uh, saving the hungry, and so on like that. Because again, that's not part of the reason why we're here. That's the opposite reason. We took, again, trillions of years to be created for a specific reason. If we followed that specific reason, we would not have the problems that we do today. Obviously, we're fucking up. Okay, just straight out, it's wrong. What we're doing is off. We're off course. And in this rediscovering the spiritual truth, we're going to go back to that Christ consciousness, or what some people have called, say, Christ consciousness. So let's go to that first question here. What is Christ consciousness? And by the way, Mass on Sundays is experiential. Uh, it's an experiential show. It's not me. Just I'm not just a talking head. So go ahead and take a deep breath in. It's not just knowledge that you store up here. It's wisdom that literally changes your genetic makeup through the use of frequencies. Because we're all sending out, again, frequencies. Hence, Christ consciousness is a frequency. Again, breath in. Notice where you are. Notice your environment. So notice any sights, notice any sounds, notice scents, so on, that create your environment. And then notice a body part. We go more into, spatial referencing through the human reset that's coming up, actually April 2nd for you, the old 18 days. Breath in again. All right. So what is Christ consciousness? How does XI define Christ consciousness in comparison to traditional views? Okay. Is Christ consciousness different from what is taught in mainstream religion? So let's talk about the conventional side, or say the conventional religions out there. Whether I mean, Christ in his original, I guess, identity, he was a Jew, right? In the Muslim, or in the Islam culture, he's Christ. Jesus Christ is considered to be one of God's favorite prophets, and then also, say, again, in the Christian religion. So Christ, transcends all religions. By the way, even if Buddha was way before Christ. So if it was flipped around, again, the origin of, say, Buddhism, the original Buddha, not the fake religion, but the original Buddhist teachings, is, say, an add-on to, say, Christ. In fact, back in the day, Christ actually, say, accessed the knowledge and intelligence. He went to masters, or individuals of masters that taught him a lot. Hence, through the concepts of Buddhism and some of the other uh, say, spiritual awakened individuals. So again, in its original form, Christ is not Jesus Christ, the man, not the religion, is literally of an awakened being. Okay. So what Christ consciousness is that is that it's not a religion, right? Although it's morphed into a religion. So the man Jesus Christ, take a breath in. Just notice your throat. The man Jesus Christ was a man. That's one key, right? Um, and again, is a man. What he did was he tapped into a high level consciousness that people have labeled uh, Christ consciousness. Simple as that. So say that he was the one, say, that discovered or brought about uh, the concept of what he taught. And a lot of his teachings, unfortunately, from what I'm getting, throughout the years, again, tapping into Christ, really understanding his work. A lot of his teachings in the religions, again, all three religions, not just one, is false. It's basically based on how can we control the masses, how can we control the people, using this great leader. He was a natural born. He wasn't a natural born leader, but when you are enlightened and you are so brilliant at that level, people are going to want to follow you. Right? That's true leadership. So Christ or Buddha or even Muhammad, they all had, say, that true leader type frequencies. So in a sense, just to wrap up question one, the difference between Christian views, again, Christian views is basically dogma or rule sets that you have to follow, and those are very limiting. In Christ consciousness, again, and and in the Christian religions, like, you have to follow the man Christ. No, you don't. You never want to do that, because again, you don't want a middleman, no matter who it is. You should learn from Christ. You should learn from his teachings. You should learn from his frequencies, but then know how to connect on your own to that consciousness that Jesus Christ, say, connected to. Again, so the consciousness, Christ consciousness, is literally, say, an app. If you want to call it an app, a cloud app that you can connect to. Once you connect to it, you have, say, internal knowledge, you have healing abilities, you can transcend space and time, you can understand who you are. In fact, XI is literally that vein. You go into, or it taps into, say, that same Christ consciousness. By the way, the second coming, it's Easter, right? It's Christ's resurrection. Okay. Again, what that means in this case, or in the religious view, is that the man that died, 2,000 years ago, and there's a lot of debate on, if he actually was crucified or killed on the cross. I don't believe he was, because an enlightened being like that wouldn't have a death like that. Okay, unless he was, no, an enlightened being would never die in that form. Okay, I'm looking through some of your questions, so I'll answer those as well. Did Jesus have previous lifetimes? To awaken to that level and to access that level of consciousness? Yes, you'd have to. You couldn't do you. There's so much awakening that would happen that you couldn't do it in one lifetime. So yes, absolutely. Right? XI actually allows you to accelerate lifetimes. That's why so many people, say, get enlightened through the use of through practicing exponential intelligence. Okay? So what we do is we, again, hasten or speed up the process of enlightenment, so it doesn't have to take lifetimes. And the reason why we can do that is because that Christ consciousness, or that resurrection, in this case, take a breath in, just notice your spine, by the way, your upper spine. Take a That resurrection is coming back. So as I was saying, in the religion, what happens is that the second coming, okay? And again, it's across all religions. Even the CIA actually believes that there is some transformational agent that would come. Now, they wouldn't call it, say, anything spiritual. There's also some, say, scientists that would agree that, say, there is a new paradigm that is about to come. Okay, so any way you look at it, the thing is that there's a consciousness that is going to wash through this plane, this earth, this time and space. Okay? So whether you call it Christ consciousness, whether in Islam, they call it, what do they call it? Uh, it rhymes with Messiah, but it's not like. Anyway, if you're Islam, they call it Rastafari. Not exactly sure, Billy. So anyway, all religion, all spirituals, even science, even say certain governments know that that a time is coming. Okay, a time of change is coming. Everybody is going, "That's my man," and then Christians are going to go, "You- Christianity, we knew it all along. He's the guy." If it was true, and if Christians, if Mehdi, yeah, exactly, Mehdi. Uh, Basically, Mehdi is the Messiah in Islam. Thanks, guys. Yeah, by the way, guys, you're all wrong. All the religions are wrong because if you practiced, and again, it's all the religions practiced the way it is today is wrong. Okay, because if you did practice, and if you even had, say, an ounce of that consciousness comes through you, the world would be very, very different. But obviously, it's not. The world is not, say, the best. Yeah, we've got great advances, we've got great possibilities, and so on, but we're not taking advantage of those possibilities. All right. So back to today, back to the resurrection. So in this scenario, what's happening, or in Christianity, they believe that, okay, this Christ, a man named Christ, died 2,000 years ago, and then the second coming is that he gets reborn and then comes back to life. So the thing with that is that he died 2,000 years ago, and then that man basically awakens in another form 2,000 years later. Okay? He, basically, again, he didn't expand. He didn't expand into it. It's like he was asleep for all these thousands of years, and then he awakens, and then that consciousness comes back to life. Well, that consciousness has always been alive. The man died. The consciousness has always been around us, by the way. Right? It's always here. Hence the purity, the glory, the joy that we experience. That's the Christ consciousness is all around us. It hasn't died. It doesn't have to be resurrected. We have to resurrect ourselves. Right? So it's not a resurrection of, say, Christ consciousness. That's always been alive. We are the dead. Okay? We, the people, are dead. We have, say, been removed, or we have removed ourselves from the consciousness that gave us birth. You want to, Christ consciousness, again, in its original form, is the consciousness that creates, say, vibrancy or human consciousness in another form outside of Christ, okay? Outside of the man. So take a deep breath in. So the resurrection is literally about coming back to life. It's not about a man coming back to life. It's about human form coming of age to embrace the consciousness that Christ had the power to embrace thousands of years ago. Okay? We that consciousness, and I talk about this in a lecture series, how consciousness works, how time frames work, how the past could be the future can be the past. Again, that's a total different, say, science talk. Okay? But in this scenario, take a deep breath in. In this scenario, the consciousness that Christ tapped into thousands of years ago is upon us now. Okay? There are people in this world that can tap into it. There are people that are resonating or harmonizing at that frequency. So they naturally, say, tap into that Christ consciousness. So the frequency has always been around. But the problem is that your radio receiver, your frequency, your human form did not have that frequency available. It's like a radio station or a TV station. You have to tune into that proper frequency. Most people can't because they don't have the power to tune into that powerful frequency that can enlighten everything. Nowadays, though, it's a lot easier for those people to tap into it, okay? Because we've evolved that much, which is quite amazing, actually, which is quite beautiful. So this is where massive transformations come about. And that's, again, the resurrection or the second coming, where people will define it's like, yes, you can do it. And more and more and more people will start to say, run from that Christ consciousness. Maybe not at the level of Jesus, but the beginnings of that consciousness is here. And that's why we're celebrating Easter. This is actually the real Easter, I would call it. Okay. All right. Hopefully that makes sense for you all. It should. to those individuals who are XIers, go, oh yeah, but maybe some of the new people, or maybe even some of the sciencey people who are new, they might question it. But again, just allow yourself to be open, allow it to resonate, allow this wisdom to become, say, part of you, and you go, shit, guy's right. Right. So again, it's this advanced science that science hasn't even understood yet. All right. So is Christ consciousness different from what is taught in mainstream religion? Yeah, we talked about that. By the way, absolutely. They're very, very different. Again, mainstream religion is all about you do this, you gotta go, you gotta pray 5 times a day, you gotta Islam culture, you gotta go to church on Sunday, you gotta do your deeds, you gotta do your chores, you gotta do this. Yeah, all that's fine and everything, but that's not going to get you to Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is a change of your frequencies, not a change of your mindset, not a change of your habits, and so on like that. Unless those habits allow you to awaken to a higher frequency, where you can, say, modulate or tune into those higher frequencies of consciousness. Okay. All right. So practical application of what are practical steps to embody or awaken Christ consciousness in one's daily life. Well, we're going to do that in the event, in the meditation, in the intense meditation that we've got going on tonight. Uh, it's called Christ Frequency Meditation. Again, I think that's later on tonight. I think it's 8 o'clock Central Time. Uh, don't quote me on that, but I believe it is tonight for sure. We're going to be celebrating Easter the way it should be celebrated. Yeah, it's 9:30 Central Time. Yeah, it's 8:30 for me. It's 9:30 Central Time for you, for the Central Time individual. All right. So that's tonight coming up. That's a practical application. So in that meditation, or what we could do, uh, is again, is Christ consciousness different? What is taught in mainstream? Just give me a second, guys. Practical application. Oh, missed a question here. Universal spiritual awakening. How can Christ consciousness contribute to a universal spiritual awakening? Okay. And people of all faiths relate to the concept of Christ consciousness. So as I was talking, again, absolutely, this is what it's about. Christ consciousness is not faith based. Faith or religions or spiritual movements, spiritual practices, again, happened. Say the last happened way after, right? Way after the Christ consciousness came about. Again, Christ consciousness is literally a modulation for humans to tap into the universal power. Okay? It's a consciousness. It's literally a programming. It is knowledge that allows humans to become enlightened, like the universal truth. It allows people to align themselves with the universal practices that have made this reality successful. It's a practice that allows you, in other words, it's a practice that allows you to connect with nature and operate at the laws of nature. Okay, so that's what it is about. So all faiths can use Christ consciousness. It doesn't really matter. Non-faith scientists should be able to use Christ consciousness, because again, it's tapping into, say, the wonders of this universe, the perfection of this universe, and nothing is random. So anybody can apply the principles of Christ consciousness. Okay. All right. So practical applications. One of the best ways is say meditation or understanding who you are. Those practical applications. How can embodying Christ consciousness impacts one's interaction and perception of the world? That's what XI is literally about. We just don't call it Christ consciousness. We just call it exponential intelligence. So basically, what that is, what are practical steps to embody? So learning or studying religions and so on, sure, that's fine. But those limit you, because it's just a rehash of what they discovered thousands of years ago. And again, a lot of the information, whether it's in the Bible, whether it's on the internet, well, let's just say it's coerced or meditated to, say, control you at some level or allow you to think in a certain way. Okay. Practical application is to go beyond that, beyond what's on the internet, beyond what is, say, common knowledge or what's become common knowledge or society's knowledge. Take a breath in again. So in this scenario, some of the practical applications is you start to observe why you were created here. You start to, what I call, spatial referencing. You start to observe yourself in the reality that you're creating. Right? This is one of the best ways to become highly intelligent, access wisdom way beyond say your years or your say schooling. This is also a way to heal yourself. This is also a way to become super abundant and actually say mentally stable. By the way, so people who do spatial referencing, guys, can you comment in? This one, Sage MD, Christ consciousness feels more like an operating system than an app. Yep, it is. It's an operating system that the app, runs on. Absolutely. So good point. Good point there. Yep. This lecture is better than any Easter church service I have been to. Thank you. Thank you so much. True, because you're feeling the purity of again that consciousness. Okay. So other ways you can embody it. Again, spatial referencing, and I'll give you those people who do spatial referencing again. Comment in on how that's transformed your life, how that's opened, say, or it's allowed you to tune in to that frequency. Spatial referencing is simply uh, a concept that we use that your human form uses to allow you to understand where you are in space and time, right? Because it's about dimensional space. The more present you are in time and the best reality that you are in this position of time is say how you're going to access Christ consciousness. Literally, that is the only way. When Jesus said there's only one path, he didn't say follow me, although he did say follow me, but not the man, not the concept, not going to church or anything like that. But the only way you can access Christ consciousness is to be science wise, is to be in the perfect, in the now moment, the most present moment beyond your mental state, beyond your perceptions of who you are, beyond your ideations of again of your identity of who you think you are. Right? So Christ consciousness, the best way to access it is only one way. You are in the most present moment of time that you can be. I can explain that, but not in this module. I've explained it before, right? And then the best reality that you could be. So I just want to explain that a bit. So it was like, what does that mean? The best. I understand the present moment, sure, but most people, you think you're in the present moment just because you're mindful. Okay, so this is where spatial referencing say differs. Spatial referencing allows you to go, yeah, now I see what the present moment is about, and you've seen that happen to yourself, by the way. Natural experiences. You know, when you're say when you're sad you're in the moment, but then there's that filter, like of sadness. Say something tragic happened to you. Got it? You're not living in the present moment. So even if you're mindful, if you're mindful, you would understand that you're running a filter of being sad because something happened to you while you're in the present moment. That's more present than being mindful and going, "Oh, I'm just sad." Right? Or I'm happy. Even happiness, sadness, it doesn't really matter. It's just the filter that you're running. Okay. Say that you've been abused. So you would see this reality in an abusive manner no matter what. Right? Say that you've always had good luck in your life. You would run this reality always seeing good luck. That's not the best reality for you. Again, good or bad. It sounds good, but again, it's a filter that you're running. Okay? Christ consciousness can only be accessed when you remove all those filters. And again, it's not a bad filter to be lucky or happy or an abundant or anything like that, but you're running it through a filter. That's the key. What you want to be is just that purity. You don't want to be the filter. That makes sense to you? That's the difference, and that's what we teach in the human reset, which was previously called in the 18 days, by the way. Okay. All right. So take a breath in. Sadness is an identity filter. Yep, absolutely. That was 94 Molo. All right. So do you see all those filters? So again, once you remove those filters or once you observe the filters that you're running, you start to come into that Christ consciousness, and this is where natural healing comes through. Right? So when Jesus healed people, what he did was not really heal the old version of you. Jesus had the power to just to like, come here, and he would just pull you into the most present moment for you. And then you would go, shit, that cancer is not me. Again, those things are filters. Diseases, lack are all filters for you. Right? So he had that propensity again through Christ consciousness to pull people into the most present moment state and the best reality at the moment. And then they would naturally heal, like almost like instantaneous healing, basically. Right? So we're getting closer and closer to that, but you'd have to have, again, presence so powerful to stay in that moment despite society's patterns. Right? So, and I just want to talk about that. And this is where we can go beyond religious boundaries, because when we start to separate ourselves by religion or by race or by creed or by anything like that, we're actually limiting ourselves to the power and abilities that we can have. Okay? So what really burdened Jesus, by the way, and did he die because of our sins? He was burdened by our sins for sure. Think of it this way, you know, there's a fish, and we're all in a net. Okay, the school of fish is going, say, east, but we're supposed to be going west. And Jesus goes, "Hey guys, we're going the wrong way." So despite humanity or the consciousness of humanity going one way, Jesus goes, yeah, we got to go this way. So he has to swim against the current and against the power of back then. I don't know how many people were on earth. He has to fight against the consciousness and separate himself from that identity. So that's a lot of power. And that takes a lot of, say, strength. So did he get burdened by our sins? Fucking absolutely right. We did. But think of it this way now. We have to transcend our religious boundaries, guys, because now it's like, the Islam goes, no, we're going that way. So there's a group of fish. We're all in the same fucking net, guys. We're all trapped in this bag or in this net. Okay. So now you've got a group of fish going, no, we need to go this way. And then Christianity is going, fuck that. We need to go this way. Although it's like, it's the same thing. Be good, be your best, get closer to God. It literally the same message, but the direction is different. The Jews, they're telling you to go this way. Spirituality is telling you to go this way. Scientists are telling you to go this way. So, in a sense, we're pulling ourselves apart. There's only one fucking way to go, guys, towards your higher self, and that's what that towards Christ consciousness. But when we break apart from, say, these boundaries of religion, when we start to separate by whether it's religion or gender or social economic status or anything like that, again, we're all going different directions. And then what happens? We go nowhere. Kind of like a horse, just like you're trying to go take it one way, and then the other person's taking it the other way. There's too many cooks in the chef. Uh, but too many cooks in the kitchen. There we go. Right? So you don't want to do that. What we want to do is like, hey, let's make it this great meal. Let's find a direction. Again, one path. Let's find that direction, all of us. Let's transcend those boundaries, those religious boundaries. Let's transcend those identities. Let's transcend the judgment and literally seek what we're after. We all are after the same exact thing, by the way. Okay? So that exact same thing, our religions should not separate us, should not divide us. It should bring us together because we're all after one aspect. Now you can go from it from a different perspective. The key is that again, you should all merge together. In today's world, we're always separating apart. It's just basically telling you or defining you or showing you that we're all going in the wrong direction. All right. Can embracing Christ consciousness lead to inner faith, harmony, and understanding? Like I said, absolutely. Because once you start to define who you are, have you ever noticed? Let me just ask you a question here. Take a breath in. All right. Have you ever noticed those people who become religious? Their life starts to work out and everything, right? To a point. Their life starts to work out to a point. And then what happens is that they think it's the religion, but I think it's just a transformation in their mind. It's a transformation in their frequency. So anyway, so what happens is that they keep practicing their religion. Okay, they keep practicing their religion, and then they start to get. The more they practice their religion, the more angry that they get. Have you ever noticed that? Okay, the more judgmental that they get. And the reason why that happens is because the religion is not really freeing them, it's binding them, although it might have brought them something. It's the same thing, again, with, say, money or lack of. People who are poor, they are bound by that poverty. People who are wealthy, they are bound by that wealth. And then no matter what situation you get into, what happens is that people, as they age, they get more angrier and angrier and angrier rather than freeing themselves. That's a sign that you're going the wrong direction. Right? So take a deep breath in. So the point is that if you, again, you're all going the wrong direction. Okay, most of us are going the wrong direction. But if we're going in the right direction, your religious, say, practices shouldn't matter. The level of wealth or lack of shouldn't matter because you're all headed in the same direction. And then from there, when you see the differences, it's like, oh, you're headed in the wrong direction. You're going a little faster than I am. Let's say incorporate some of the ideas, and this is where competition becomes, say, fruitful because it allows us to go towards the right direction faster and easier. This is where we can learn between, say, different religions or different religions, concepts, uh, different, say, races and all that. So it's the direction that's messing us up rather than what we're practicing. So take a deep breath in. This is where interfaith harmony comes together. This is where, we're not separating, we're combining. And then in time, instead of having, say, all these, say, forms of religion, you'd have basically one religion that actually has, they stood the test of time and actually has elevated people as they age. You can tell religions really don't work, or anything else don't work, because look at the way people have aged through their process or beliefs. It just doesn't work out. Okay? All right, spiritual growth. And then we'll end at that. We've got 5 more, and then what I'll do is I'll make little clips on that, and then you can um, you can subscribe to the channel and get the rest on this. All right, spiritual growth and transformation. What kind of transformations can individuals expect by embracing Christ consciousness? And then how does Christ consciousness influence one's spiritual growth and yearning? It's a really great question. So take a breath in. All right. So what kind of transformations can individuals expect by embracing Christ consciousness? So you'll actually start to see if more and more people practice. So initially, if one individual, say, practice Christ consciousness, and by the way, if you become exponentially intelligent, did you notice that you not only changed, but as you become awakened, your children changed, the people around you changed, your environment changed. Again, comment in. How did that work? So that's part of that Christ consciousness. It's an awakening. People are searching for that direction. Once people find it, no matter what you're practicing, it doesn't really matter. Again, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let me just explain that. So take a breath in again. I'm just helping you delete a lot of these patterns that are really, say, heavily bound onto you through the practice of good people, faith, and so on. All right. So what I meant by that is that when you're resonating at a certain frequency, you can practice anything that you need to, right? But as you awaken more and more, that practice or that faith becomes narrowed down. So all individual will again be practicing the same thing. Very simple. So so as you start to, say, expand yourself, as you start to awaken who you are, this is where your natural healing comes into play. This is where you can eliminate the practice of hereditary patterns. This is where your parents had heart disease, your grandparents had heart disease, your great grandparents has heart disease. you have heart disease. You're going to pass that on to your kids. Right? So Christ consciousness allows us to get back on track to evolving properly. So in this scenario, if your grandparents had heart disease, by now, for example, we should actually have figured out a way not to have not to have heart disease. We should have figured out a way to cure cancers, not by drugs or anything, but again, evolving our genetics so cancers can't be a part of this. Even if we were eating crappy food, if we were highly awakened or again, Christ connected to Christ consciousness, the crappy foods, we'd adapt to it automatically, by the way, right? And then those things won't be detrimental for us, but we're not that awakened, by the way. Right? So this is where natural healing comes in. This is where money or abundance is actually beneficial for you. This is where you make a lot of money and then you destroy or you sacrifice who you are. That's not Christ consciousness. Right? You could be a good person. You could donate your money. You could help a lot of people. It doesn't really matter. You're not helping because you're not doing it through a Christ consciousness. You're not connected. So it's destroying more than it's helping. This is where natural abundance comes into your. This is where natural abundance comes as a reflection on how high you are as an ascended being. Okay? That's where natural abundance comes from. There would not be any poverty in this reality. Poverty would actually be, say, a sin. Actually, most people think it's the other way around. Money is sin, and then poverty is good. Right? There's good people. You watch all these, Disney shows and all that stuff, and it's like, wealthy people are always greedy and so on like that. Yeah, they are. Okay, there's also nice people, poor people. They're the good people. They know what's going on. There's a lot of greed in there as well. Again, do you see the difference? The difference is that it's not the money that makes you greedy or a bad person. It's the consciousness that you're. So it allows you to understand what, say, wealth is about. This is a deeper relationship. See, you would never abuse or distort or sacrifice yourself or sacrifice others to ascend to higher levels of understanding. So if more people practice that, and that's what XI is about, becoming exponential intelligence, uh, becoming exponentially intelligent. This is where all of us can transcend, and the powers, the leaders of this world do not have to destroy the masses to be in control. So it's a total different way of leadership. It literally is, say, the way nature would intend us to grow. Okay? And then how does Christ consciousness influence one's spiritual growth and journey? Again, it allows you to, say, weed through the bullshit that's there, because there's thousands of different religions. There's thousands of different practices. Thinking there's nothing wrong with those practices, but are they actually allowing you to go to higher levels of understanding? If it's not, and if you're having challenges are okay to expand and grow, but if you keep having the same challenges and you didn't grow, then you're doing your practice wrong. So it allows you to filter out. Your spiritual growth should allow you to filter out those programs and patterns that have destroyed your family and destroyed society. Each generation, we should be getting better and closer, not just technologically, but aspects of human form. If you look back over the past 100 years, humans haven't evolved much over time. Their technology has, right? But again, we haven't as a higher being. So we've got 5 more questions to go. Again, I'm going to answer that on this channel, but at a later time. So watch out for that. Later tonight, guys, we'll have the Christ frequencies. So we'll allow you to. Sorry, what is it? Yeah. So it's a universal power frequency, awakening of hope. There we go. So basically, what that is that the hope that you want, it's not blind faith or anything. It's literally is like, again, how do you connect to that consciousness that I was talking about? Okay. So that's coming on tonight. So take a deep breath in, guys. We'll end it. And what we'll do, just give me a minute or two. guys. Let's just go into a deep state hyper meditation. Right? It'll get you ready for those individuals who want to connect later on tonight. Take another breath in. And what we'll do is just remove or separate or create distance between you and your beliefs. How does that sound? Okay. Is that fair? And, and if you're having a hard time with that, especially if you're new, to separate you and your beliefs, that's just a sign that you need you need to become exponentially intelligent more than ever. Because basically you're going, I am nobody without my beliefs. Beliefs are man-made. Concepts of self are man-made. It's not real. So if you're holding on to anything like that, right, and you're fearful of letting go of that, and you're going, gosh, I believe in this and my religion tells me to do this, and you can't let go of it, well, you've become morphed into, say, that concept, and you've locked yourself in your religions and your beliefs and your money and your poverty and anything like that. So whatever belief that you have, can I just help you separate that? That you should be a standalone person, right? It's basically testing how good your beliefs are. Simple as that. And if you can't stand alone without your beliefs or ideations of who you are, then your beliefs are garbage. No offense. They're not functioning well for you. So take a deep breath in. So you're saying in the middle of beliefs is the word lie. True. Let me help you just create that distance. Okay? And then you can start to see where your beliefs are malfunctioning. So you can, if those beliefs are, say, true, you should be able to hone those beliefs because you're separated yourself. Wonderful breath in again. For those who are up and coming XIers or who are XIers, you'll start to feel a lot of relief as you move forward. Right? For those who are new, a couple things could happen. For those who are new, again, like I said, if you're really weak and you need beliefs, ideas of who you are, and you can't live without them, you're going to feel a little disoriented or distorted. Again, it's because, again, you're using your beliefs as crutches to support who you think you are. Or two, yeah, finally, I'm hearing the truth. I can let go of this bullshit that I didn't know how to let go of. Either way, nice job. Yep. Ah, yeah, absolutely. Take a breath in, guys. So I think in the past couple weeks, you know, I've really transformed a lot. Gone through some, say, deep, say, introspection. And we did an event in Costa Rica, and I had a chance to be isolated. Rented a house, beautiful house up in the mountains, and really connected with nature. A lot of introspection, and on the flight back, I meditated. For, gosh, I don't know, 4 hours, however long the flight is. Just got into this deep state. After that, got a little sick and everything. Again, detoxing. Came back even stronger. And some of you might actually feel my frequencies different, more pure. Right? Although it was pure before, it's just more. So, so, so in the past, again, couple of weeks, really helping or really understanding what Christ consciousness is really about, or I might what I'm labeled like exponential intelligence. Right? So moving away from that concept or the distortion. So it's allowed me to say help shift people better. It's allowed me say to say improve your lives with say less detox. Okay? Because again, I can stand say in the present moment and pull you into your best possible self without your filters. A lot easier, a lot faster. Yeah, so I think overall in the near future, and there's enough people, and by the way, it's not just me. Comment in on if you felt like you had an upgrade, or some people, that are closer to me, they go, "God, did you get an upgrade? Did you change? Because I know my life dramatically changed." So it's not just about me. It's not a single being. But did you all like have that opportunity to go, shit, something really shifted and I'm more in the flow now? How many people in commenting on that? Okay? And I know there's a little delay, but that's the thing that I'm talking about. You all tapped into this consciousness that's rolling in and riding that wave. So many upgrades recently. Exactly. So that's what I'm talking about. It's just that we're just upgrading at different levels. It's a magnifier, right? So it's pretty amazing. So people like me and like people like you that are coming up, you're not just shifting for yourself, but you're tapping into that consciousness that will shift humanity into another direction. Okay? That's the resurrection that I was talking about. You'll see that you'll just walk by people on the street and they'll go, I walked by that person. How many of you done that as well? Somebody walks by you or somebody like looks at you, you're actually changing their frequency, by the way. You're going, oh, that person figured it out. They don't need to know anything about you because you're already conditioned to tap into a higher frequency. Okay? So that's what I'm talking about. This is the time of Christ consciousness. It's here, it's now. It's not a single individual. It's the unity of consciousness. And that's where we can become one and go forward into that one path that Jesus was on. That's quite beautiful. And I'm proud and I'm honored to say, be a pioneer of that. Okay? Again, we all need help, but again, being that pioneer, helping you all understand the concepts and the logistics, just because through the near death experiences, kind of like traverse the path already and come back in physical form to go, okay, now I got to take my physical. Right? So, again, thanks. Thank you for that, guys. All right. I think that's it. All right, guys. Thanks for being here, guys. Next week is going to be another amazing show. So hopefully tell your friends, subscribe to this channel. It's going to be fantastic. Again, thanks for being here. Notice what you notice. Notice all the details and transform.